What's up, guys? Iceman here. Blessings to those who are watching this video, and blessings to my patrons and my channel members. May you have many wives. Links in the description below if you want to support the Ice Toad or hit that join button to become a channel member. So, what do you guys in the comments made mention of making Breath of the Dying in a Colossus blade? Is that what it's called? So I'm going to do it. Colossus blade. This one is for grief, and the reason I'm doing that is for style points. Grief often is made in a phase blade for some obvious reasons. One of which is that it has a very fast attack speed, generally at its base, for classes like the Barbarian and the Paladin. But obviously the Barbarian can single-handedly or dual-wield swords. And in that case, the item range matters. The range adder matters. And if you have, say, your fastest weapon in your offhand, unless if they fix this, I don't know if they fix this. Did they fix this? You could be swinging and miss if your offhand weapon is shorter or doesn't have as much of a range adder as your main hand weapon. Unless if they change this. I just can't recall. But of course, I like having Breath of the Dying in the main hand, which has a pretty nice attack speed. But, I mean, nonetheless, these things are going to have the same range, alright? Another advantage of making grief in a phase blade is the fact that a phase blade is indestructible. And these rune words can be quite costly to repair, especially if you make it in a superior item, which I'm not going to do. So this is just a non-superior. But first off, let's make a Breath of the Dying. Vex, Hel, El, Eld, Zod, Eth. I remember back in the day, if you would find a Zod rune, it was an exciting thing. Oh my god! Look at the roll! Isn't that the worst? Are you kidding me? I think that's the worst. Doesn't it range from 350 to 400? Holy freaking toad! That's fine. Oh, it has max leech though. So it has, like, the lowest damage possible, man. That's cray-cray. But, I mean, this weapon is just so damn thick. Very fast attack speed. Very nice enhanced damage. You can make it an ethereal item. A potentially underlooked stat. The negative 25% to target defense helps you hit shit a lot. Perhaps another underlooked stat. The massive damage increase to undead. 200% damage to undead. Like, we see the demon stuff often. The damage to demons, but the undead, I feel we see a little less so. And this thing has it, and it has a lot of it. The 32 all attributes. This item is an absolute hog. I mean, I love this thing, and it just looks cool. Like, check that out. Look at that thing. And it's ethereal. Yep. Yep. And then I'm going to make a grief. Eth, Tur, Lo, Mal, Ral. I've never done this. Because these swords can be hard to find. Obviously, you could make it in a Colossus sword, rather. Which is going to have slightly different stats, slightly different requirements. And I think one less in the range adder category. So there are those factors. But I mean, just to make them in the same sword is kind of cool. Although the variety can be nice as well. Maybe I will experiment with a Colossus sword grief. And this is a mid-roll. I believe Grief can roll, is it 340 to 400? And Grief is just such an epic item. Because this is raw damage, and that's min and max, at 373. So, when calculated with all your multipliers and shit, that just goes up a lot, alright? That ends up being a lot of damage. Grief, of course, is a hog, 30 IS. The Venom is actually kind of nice as well. The ITD And in addition to that, it also has the negative 25% to target defense. Damage to demons then. So this just seems like a really good combo. On one hand, you have a ton of leech, and you have damage to undead, and just pretty high damage. And then in the other hand, you have this thing, which is known for its raw damage output, but it also has ITD and damage to demons, rather, and a few other nice stats. Has the 20% deadly strike. So let's put that thing on. So without my mercenary's might, let me show you his gear. The Breath of the Dying, of course, with a very low roll, unfortunately. That's fine. Laying of Hands, just because the 350% damage to demons, it's hard to pass up on that, in my opinion. It's hard to skip on that. It might be a bit OP, which is why I think they nerf these in some of the mods, but that's fine. Sometimes it's just fun using OP shit. Here's a Ravenfrost. For Dungos, this could be exchanged with a String of Ears, which I generally prefer. String of Ears is kind of similar. It lacks the faster hit recovery, it lacks the vitality, but in replacement of those two, it has a nice life leech and the MDR, the magic damage reduction, which I think over time really adds up, and it might even compensate for the lack of vitality, and then some. But this does have replenished life, so that's pretty nice as well. This is a perfect roll, or maybe it is a perfect roll. I don't know if it's a perfect roll. I don't know if the replenish is perfect. It might be, but the DR is and the vitality is 40 and 15. Now I decided to go against String of Ears because I just have so much life leech on this character. Maybe it even adds it up. I mean, it won't be there we go. 21% life stolen per hit. 7 mana stolen per hit. So the mana is quite minimal. But he's going to be hitting a lot, and Frenzy doesn't require that much mana, so I think it's going to be fine. And Ariats with nothing in it for style points. And my res are maxed out with 80 lightning because of the armor that I'm wearing. So Ariats is just all around pretty nice helm. You could consider going with G-Face over this. With maybe an Umrune in it in this case, and make up for some cold and poison with charms or something. G-Face with his deadly strike and massive crushing blow. Maybe I will make a comparison video with those two. Let me know in the comments below if you guys are at all interested in seeing that. But I just like, I mean, Ariats is, it's pretty cool, you know? Hello. 20 strength, 20 dex, all res 30. It's just an all-around really nice helm. Obviously with the G-Face, you're going to be missing out on the skills. But ultimately, the skills don't do a ton for your damage, as you can see here. And Ariats does get, or G-Face does give strength, but I mean, you'd easily want, you know, for pure damage purposes, you'd probably, you know, no questions asked, over, say, 150 damage I get from this thing. A little bit more than that. 200 raw damage, min and max, I don't know, something like that. Added to your character screen after being multiplied up. You, Deadly Strike and Crushing Blow, you're gonna be swatting the shit out of things, so G-Face is, you know, all around for pure damage output. You'd probably want to go with that. But this does give the AR bonus as well. Look at the AR you get from the skills. Shouldn't be underlooked. But then we have a High Lord's Amulet for obvious reasons. One-to-one skills. The 20 IS might not be essential at all with this. He might already be at his max breakpoint, but I'm not sure. But nonetheless, the 33% Deadly Strike is just really hard to pass up. Gore Riders, not like a Boson, I prefer War Traps. But Gore Riders for this guy, the Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike, Open Wounds, nice boots, and then just this ring. And I have a few of these max damage charms, because they do end up adding a lot of damage, as you can see there. And that's before the might is applied. So anyway, let's go take a look-see and see how well this guy can clear the Frigid Highlands. With Quick Cast, it's nice. I have the Battle Orders and Shout and Battle Cry or whatever. Battle Command. All right there. See if this Might Aura will get applied here. The Mercenary with a Reaper's Toll really helps you destroy shit. I do prefer Lawbringer. It probably is a better combo, Lawbringer and Grief over this, unfortunately. This Lawbringer's just so cheap to make, but it's extremely powerful. I might compare those as well, but this guy just has a basic Reaper's Toll, the Shell, Duriel Shell, and a V-Gaze with nothing in it. Once they get that Decrepify applied to them, you can really hack the shit out of them. So the Might Aura is now applied. There's his damage, his frenzy damage, 6,900 to 2,138. It's 2,138. This is actually a lot higher. I mean, this is probably like 10k or something. Grief is just... It does a lot of damage, and you want to have multipliers added to it. And I'm not sure how many I have, but let's take a look in just a moment here. So basically, with this guy, you can hold the right click and just auto-attack things. And this is actually going quite well. He's destroying shit. The more effective way to play this guy would be to get your frenzy charges up and then double swing, because you're still doing that frenzy damage while your little frenzy swirls there are active. And you can double swing and you simply attack faster. See, because here's double swing. See, double swing is faster. So you have frenzy on your right click is how I like to do it. And then you have double swing on your left click. And it's an easy ride, man. Now, there is no splash damage in D2R, of course. Let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing something like melee splash damage in D2R. Because even with decked out gear, you know, you're generally, for most content, you're just going slower than the casters, than the Javazan, than a lot of characters. But I mean, you can beat the shit out of things. It's pretty. I'm pretty impressed by this clear speed. He's not, you know, he doesn't have like a maxed out inventory with damage charms. You can see there's a ton of space in the inventory still left. It is a super low roll on the Breath of the Dying, which is probably actually kind of nice for the purpose of this video. Just to showcase maybe the potential. You know, this is a weak-ass Breath of the Dying, and it's still demolishing stuff. So let me go to the Chaos Sanctuary, and we'll see how well he fares there. So here, without Enigma, it can be a bit tedious. You have to leap across. Now, I did put 1 point into Whirlwind. Alright. So it's level 11 with my skill gear, giving it 80% weapon damage. Oh, his battle command wore up. There it is. And really, 1 point in a Whirlwind, especially in this version of Diablo where there's no melee splash, as mentioned, I think it's worth it. See this? How you're just slicing through shit. I mean, really, you might as well be a Whirlwind Barb. But I wanted to try a Frenzy Barb, and of course these guys, they have some potential to maybe do Uber Tristram, to take care of Diablo clone, so I could showcase a video if this guy can do those two. I'm not sure if he can with this gear. He can't. Well, he probably could. I might need some lightning grand charms. You really gotta way overcap your lightning res for when fighting Uber Mephisto. Or Mephisto, or whatever. So here's some Whirlwind. And I can just hold it with Quick Cast, it's nice. You can just hold the Whirlwind and he'll continually go about. Did they change something up with Whirlwind lately? Recently they did something with Whirlwind, didn't they? Oh, where you click a target. Let's see how well it works. And instead of just stopping then at the target, if you're highlighting a target with your mouse and you're holding Whirlwind button, I believe he's supposed to go back at it like multiple times. And that'll be easier to try. Yeah, I'm holding it right here and he's, yeah, this is actually a nice change. That's a nice change. And you lock on, and then if you do kill him, you'll just keep whirlwinding. So that's a welcome change right there. But of course, this video was kind of supposed to showcase a Frenzy Barb, so let's go back to that. Whirlwind is kind of ass when you have a weapon in each hand. Obviously, it's more optimal for a big two-handed weapon. Maybe a Breath of the Dying and like a spear or a Thunder Maul or something. Oh, that's something to experiment with as well. Oh, let's see what this guy is right there. It would be nice if you could hold shift and left click to identify items, like you can in PD2. Just a little what do you call it? Quality of life feature. Just something that I think has been needed for a long time. You know, there's some things, like I understand the concept of keeping this quite pure, you know, because there is something to be said about pure, untouched Diablo 2 LOD. But there are some minor things I think that really just need to be done, you know? Let us identify the damn thing with a little hotkey, or have some sort of mechanic where we can easily identify shit. I think that would be really nice. We also need a little filter, in my opinion, but there's other videos in the future for stuff like that. But what do you guys think about the Frenzy Barb? Let's see. So here we go. Here's some Frenzy. I'm going to hold it. Hold the right click. Ooh, heavy boots. Yeah, it's important to pick up the rare boots in an area like this, an 85 area, and that's another thing this could use. Get us a little area level up here or something, just like what Project Diablo 2 did. So then we don't have to go on Google and look shit up or just memorize everything. So, yeah, it's important to identify boots, though, in high-level areas. You could maybe get Run Walk with Tri-Res. Maybe if you're lucky enough, some MF on there. Potentially some endgame boots, and potentially some very, very valuable boots as well, depending on the role. You get Run Walk, if you even get faster hit recovery and Tri-Res, something like that. Extremely valuable. And I'm really uncertain if you can get Run Walk, faster hit recovery, Tri-Res, Magic Find. You guys have any idea if you can get that? That's a lot of stats. I don't know if you can get that. You might either need one or the other, like fast hit recovery or Tri-Res, something like that. But the Frenzy Barbs, they're kind of lackluster, but what's nice about them is you do feel thick. You know, except against these guys. These guys will kick your ass if you're not careful, with fanaticism and all that. You do feel... you feel a bit invulnerable compared to other characters. Now, if I were to have a Lawbringer on this guy, I would be feeling even more invulnerable. So let's go get that mercenary back. And really, I suppose I should try Frenzy against Diablo. Because for boss killing, it's probably better than a 1-point Whirlwind. But even with this, as you can see, here's the problem, is you start getting surrounded by enemies, and it can be difficult getting out of it. Like, see, these guys are kicking my ass. Of course, one of them is physical immune, so what you do is you have Berserk on a hotkey like I have here, and then you just kill this guy with Berserk. Berserk is extremely powerful in D2R. It's very, very powerful. And your defense does go to 0 when you use it, but that's fine. It's well worth it against physical immunes, and Frenzy does have some magic damage, which is why I was still able to damage that guy outside of even just my poison damage, for example, although he might have been immune to poison. But with Frenzy, let's take a look here. Every point into Berserk gives 1% magic damage per level, and that should be added to your overall damage, I believe, which is very nice, and that really helps you just along, because a lot of enemies in this game, in Hell mode especially, are highly resistant to physical, even if they're not immune to it. So your magic damage added to that really can go a long ways. And of course, it especially helps against physical immunes. So if you choose to say max this over taunt, which is what I didn't do, that might be an interesting thing to try. Because really you're going to have 20% magic damage added to your damage. Now you don't leech from the added magic damage, and I don't believe it just takes over what otherwise would be physical damage. To my understanding, at least now, maybe after a fix, it does just add to your overall damage. So it makes a lot of sense to do that if you can, you know. But let's see how well he slaps Satan's ass. Let's see how well he does this with Frenzy. So in terms of my multipliers, Frenzy right now, the damage is at 398%. Let's see what else I have. This all needs to be factored in when you're trying to figure out how much damage your grief is doing. Because really, we can't see those numbers. Because it doesn't show up here, your damage from grief. That's why it looks like such a small number. But, so you basically add up, let's say 400 enhanced damage right there. And then you add the 150, so we're at 550. And then the Fortitude, 6, 7, 8, 50 for the 300% enhanced damage. And then whatever the might gives. I'm not sure what that gives. Is that like 120 per party, 150 per party? Is it 80? I don't even know what it is. But that matters too. So with the might, right now, let's just look at the Breath of the Dying Frenzy. It's 68, 58. And then without the might, it's 58. So it adds 1,000 damage, which is pretty impressive. So that might be something you want to try out with this guy. Obviously, you could also put on a Pride Rune Word to get potentially a level 20 concentration aura added. But with this weapon combo, I like having Decrepit Fire Amp damage somewhere, and this is kind of how you can get it on the Mercenary. You could also get an Act 5 Mercenary. Can't you put, what's it called, Lawbringer on him? The Frenzy Mercenary, you can put like dual Lawbringers on him or something. Or even better yet, some godly build would be Lawbringer on your Act 5 Frenzy Merc, along with Last Wish, so he could have Might and be quite invulnerable. So that would be another thing to try. But let me know what you guys think about this Barbarian so far. There was a time a couple years ago when I started making videos. It was probably more than a couple years ago at this point. But it was before I tried the mods like Path of Diablo and then Project Diablo 2. It was when I was just playing on botnet. It was really a great time. And I strive to have just a thick Frenzy Barb. And I remember running through like the Uber levels. I don't know if I actually did Ubers with them. I don't think I did. I killed Diablo clone one time for one of my YouTube subscribers. It was just a good time, man. It was a spiritual journey. Although I probably did take some handouts, but I didn't take a lot. I took some. But a lot of that gear, to be honest with you guys, I did gain from blood, sweat, and tears. So it was a good time. But let me know if you guys are going to experiment with a Barbarian anytime soon in D2R, or have you even been playing D2R? It's unfortunate they have that bullshit MF buff, but I think that's over now, fortunately. I'm just kind of hoping they don't dive into doing that too frequently. That's just my opinion anyway. It's a slippery slope, you know, because then they'll start adding it, and they'll realize that's how they bring players in. It's going to be like Diablo 3. You just got to keep pumping in welfare and shit to get people to come back. Then they just leave until you pump in even more. And pretty soon everyone's running with 1,000 MF or some shit. But I like keeping it simple, keeping it basic, so we know what we get, and we can go in any time and play, and we're working with those same numbers to an extent. But it's not that big of a deal. Just one little thing that I've noticed that they've done recently. But the Whirlwind fix, I think, was nice. Of course, who wouldn't like the Whirlwind fix? Isn't it overall a good thing, what they do with Whirlwind? Let me know in the comments below. But have you guys been playing D2R? Have you been playing PD2 and all that shit? If you guys want to help out my channel member, Damien, he came down with some shit not too long back. He's a young guy, and he has a family, and he has cancer. All right? So he has to go through all sorts of treatments and shit. And he does have a GoFundMe page. So I'm going to link that in the description of this video. And I'll probably shout him out again sometime. But if you guys want to support Damien, I have him on Discord. I live chatted with him a couple times. I'll link that in the description if any guys have interest in supporting him. But check it out if you will, his GoFundMe page. But I'll talk to y'all later. Peace be with you.